Hey there, Fat Shank here with a super quick video showing you where I'm coming from and what the underlying model is that tends to work in practice when you're doing affiliate marketing that is aimed at, well, actually providing value as opposed to doing a simple AdSense site where people come in, they hopefully look at an ad and then they bounce off. Even there, if you look at the AdSense model, the big players, those who actually make real money with AdSense, they provide value. So that's really the corner piece or the central piece of all of this. You need to be able to provide value. And I've done that. When I got started in 2007, I picked my niche. And because I wasn't an established expert in my niche, I went out and copied other people's content and kind of adapted it to my own style. And within about a day and a half, I decided, no, I can't do this. This is just rubbish. And copying other people's things is not the way forward. So over the last 10 years, I've basically come up with my own thinking, my own way of doing this, and I've also taught countless of people. And you can see there's a link somewhere around this video to the testimonials. Go and read those so you can see what other people are thinking. But now, let's look at the screen and I'll quickly give you an overview of where you can provide great value even when you don't think you have anything particular useful, any particular skills, experience that could be shareable and where people are willing to pay for it. So I'm going to have to look at the screen now to show you where we're at. And what we're seeing here is a bit of a curve that goes up like this. And forget about the bump. My drawing is terrible, hands-free drawing. And what we've got here is basically roughly three areas. At the very bottom, we've got the no value or little value. So on this axis here, we have value. And on this axis, the x-axis, we have expertise. And in this area where you provide very little expertise or have little expertise, you provide also very little value. And these are the AdSense sites of the world where you have random content, quite possibly spun, quite possibly written by someone in the Philippines who doesn't really understand what this is about. And as a result, some random clickers will click, and yes, you can make $1 or $2 per day. And I've been there, I've done this back in the good old AdSense days. It was a bit more than $1 a day, but still, it is chicken feed. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, let me see if I can find this over here, the upper end, where you have lots of expertise, you also obviously provide a lot of value, and these are world-class experts. And guess what? This is when you're doing affiliate marketing, not an area you should be focusing on. Right up there is world-class experts. And I tend to work with world-class experts. That's really my main niche. But when you want to do affiliate marketing, well, you don't need to be a world-class expert, nor should you be doing affiliate marketing as your main thing. If you're a world-class expert, you basically do that. You sell your world-class expertise. So what is left? Well, it's left this little bit here, and it so happens to be on the plectrum, the pick your niche. This is where let's call it the hockey stick, starts bending upwards. So you have not no expertise, like on the left-hand side, but you also don't have world-class expertise. You have some sort of expertise, and you may not have that expertise at this point, but there is some level of expertise, and suddenly the value goes up. It goes up dramatically. It's not world-class experience and hence world-class pay, but it's definitely far, far more than AdSense. And this area is really, there are different ways where you can get to this point, but the main one is to help people with information overload. If you focus on this area, this is where there's too much information out there. There is a ton of misinformation out there. There is also a lot of omitting the information that is really, really important because it doesn't work. Right? When you go and set up or try to set up a website on Amazon AWS, it is a nightmare because the Amazon documentation is written by complete and utter geeks. I'm a computer scientist. I should be understanding it, and I have no chance. When it comes to Amazon AWS, nightmare. So if you can go and cut through the clutter and not only tell people what they need to do, in human, not in geek speak, but also then point out, well, here are all the things I tried and they didn't work. This is of tremendous value. And now you start, hopefully, to see that actually getting there is not very, very hard. Well, it is definitely work. People pay you for something that is valuable. You putting in the groundwork, the legwork, and actually doing this is of tremendous value in an age of information overload. Too much information, plus people glossing over of things that don't work. Anyone who sells a course always goes by, here are the great things, here are the benefits, here's why this is awesome. And no one says, well, actually, it took me 10,000 attempts to get there. Now, if you're left to your own devices, you will get to that point eventually after trying 10,000 times. But that's a waste of everybody's time. And that's precisely where you can bring tremendous value right in this area here. This is where you help people not only cut through the clutter, but also avoid all the mistakes they could be making. So the course I have in mind is basically how to figure out where that sweet spot is for you, where, in what niche, in what market you can provide that kind of value, where you can go in and say, look, I'm willing to walk that path before you to figure out what works and what doesn't work. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not all of it. There are more aspects to it, but this is the core idea. Walking ahead, actually doing what needs to be done and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and then sharing that, because it is of tremendous value whilst you not having to be a world-class expert. So there you go. That's the core idea of this course I have in mind. If you're interested, go and look at the testimonials. There's a link somewhere below above the video. And then go back to the original post where you found out about this and leave a comment, ask questions. Let's get engaged. I'm only doing this course if there's enough interest. It's not my core niche. It's something I have, done myself over the last, now 11 years. I've taught to many people. If there's interest in this particular thing, just figuring out what niche you can provide tremendous value in and what the core questions are that people are facing, so that you can go out and solve them for them, because that's where the value is. Then leave a comment on, I think probably Facebook is the best place, and we'll get this started. Alrighty, cheers, bye.